So, folks, I hope you had a nice break. And now we're back at it again. And I do have a few more things I'd like to get to. One, I like this. Nancy Pelosi. They had her on this little soundbite.
What would we do without Nancy Pelosi?
And Fox News ran this bite over and over for 2 days. I think I think President Biden is just perfect.
What else is she going to say?
Well, if she wants to have any credibility at all, I think she should have dodged that question.
Bill, that ship has sailed many years ago.
She's going to run again.
Oh, I know. That's
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. All right. Nancy and I are the same age. We're both 81.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you, if someone said to me, Bill, you could get elected and go to Washington from this district, it would be a piece of cake. We'd back you. You wouldn't have to do a thing except go around, kiss babies, and shake hands. And you're going to go to Washington. And I would have said, where were you 30 or 40 years ago? Because I would have done it. But at 81, I couldn't do it.
I'm too tired. Start with.
Just how the hell, with a demanding position like she's got, can she keep all the bloody balls in the air at the age of 81?
I don't know.
You can't do it.
No.
I mean, God Almighty, you'd have to be Superman.
There's a bunch of them there that should have been put out to pasture before.
Oh yeah. The power. She can't give it up.
Power's like an addictive drug to these people.
It is.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at Adolf Hitler.
Yeah. Oh.
Power.
Power. Yep.
I got a bunch of
Bring them on.
crazy notes here. I always felt that Hillary Clinton and the vast right-wing conspiracy line that she used to use every time.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, she admitted, after all was said and done, and she's out of office and all that stuff, that yes, that was a fraudulent statement. There was no vast right-wing conspiracy, but I had to have something to say as like a bang at the end of the statement. I always felt that she was the biggest liar in the country, okay? But I've got another one. This mantra, we only want the rich to pay their fair share. That is the biggest lie in the world. They would like to destroy the rich and pass out all the money equally to everyone in the country.
I don't know. See, I should take that just a little bit different.
Okay?
I don't think they want to destroy the rich. They just want to take the attention off themselves. They are the rich. Nancy Pelosi's worth of many, many millions of dollars.
I've heard...
She lives in a gated community.
Yeah.
She's got money that's unbelievable. You take all these that cry, we got to tax the rich, except us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a poor Democrat. Baloney. You're as rich as anybody else, but you just cry, poor mouth.
I've seen her personal wealth at between 20 and 40 million, and his wealth over 200 million.
There you go.
Yeah. I was thinking more about the progressives
Even the AOC's worth several millions, and she claims to be nothing.
Yeah, I know. And Bernie Sanders.
Bernie
too,
Sanders. Yeah. Bernie Sanders one time got madder than hell when somebody pointed out that you are a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you wrote a successful book, you'd be a millionaire too.
Yeah,
It just went on
Elizabeth
with that.
Warren, the same thing.
Yeah, but they are the millionaire, but that's a talking point with them. They don't really want to take the money away from millionaires because you'd have to take theirs also. But if you look at it and they say, oh, they're with us. They're with the poor guy. They're with the working guy, the blue collar guy, the workaday guy. They're our people. They're not your people. Anybody sitting in that chair in Washington, D.C. is not your person. They're their person.
I think most of the people, though, that look at the redistribution of wealth are saying, why should they have all that money? That should all be split up to everybody. We all contributed to all the rich people making that money. But the rich people themselves, the politicians, yeah, they have a little different spin on things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But they're not concerned about the real rich's money because they are the rich.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a different rich though between them and the rich in business.
Yeah,
yeah.
Of course there is because
yeah.
They don't say it. Look what I got.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go
right.
It's me. You know.
Yep.
You take Elizabeth Warren. Christ, she's multimillionaire.
Of course she is. Just on her home alone in
Yeah.
Cambridge. What she paid for it and what it's worth now.
They worth, five figures, 6 million. What's $10 million? 7 million, 8 million.
3, 6,
eight figures.
8 figures, yeah.
So she's worth that. Her hubby's worth big bucks, but you'd think that I'm only for the poor people. Look at me.
I don't think her husband has a lot of money.
No, it doesn't matter.
I mean, he's a former college professor now. He gets a nice pension, probably a couple $100,000 a year.
Yeah,
but anyway, well, here's something else. Fox Business had a poll. Top issues for voters going forward.
Yeah.
And it was at the end of December. What do you think was number one? I'll just read it to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Inflation, 84%.
That would have been my guess anyway.
77% higher crime.
Okay, makes sense.
71% higher taxes.
Yeah, probably.
69% the deficit. And 68% the virus. Now,
I would have put the virus before the deficit because I don't think people really understand the deficit.
The deficit now for each taxpayer is, each individual taxpayer right now, $239,000.
Mm-hmm.
For us to get out of the hole, we all got to pony up $240,000.
But it wouldn't affect our life if we got it out of that hole. We wouldn't have any better or any worse life than we is. So it's kind of a moot point when you think about it.
Really. It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
The
inflation I can see that hurts everybody. Particularly hurts the younger the lower echelon group.
Very cruel tax.
Yeah.
Inflation, and it hits not only the bottom 20 or 25%.
They're the ones that can least afford that.
The elderly take it.
Yeah, well, they
really
fall in the same group. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the ones that saved all their life.
Yeah. And they you know what really hurt is when they took the interest rate down to 0.
Yeah.
Now the elderly loved certificates of deposit.
Yep.
I could make 5.5% or 6% or 6.5% on a certificate of deposit at a J.P. Morgan Chase Bank.
That's right.
Safe, guaranteed return on your money. That's what they want. That's what they got to have. There is no place to take the money. I can't tell you how many times I have heard that in talking to the elderly up to Hillcrest.
That's right. It's exactly right. And if you look at the banks, and you notice the banks aren't whining.
No.
They're not crying about
The interest rate going up?
No.
Because the spread gets wider,
Yeah.
and they can adjust their mortgage rate up and
That's
make
right.
more money.
They're still not going to pay anything
Yes.
on the end.
That's why
They're using a commodity. I got a look. Not a lot of. We don't have a lot of money, but I got some money in the money market because there's just no place else. I don't want to put it here. I want to use it because I need some house repairs done. And I got 1/15% on that.
Yep.
I'm thinking, 15 to 1%, not 1%, 1/15%. Yet the bank saying, well, we got ultra low mortgage rates of 3.2 or something.
Yeah, it's up around 3.5 now.
Well, even at 3.
Yeah.
Divide 0.15 into 3.2. See how many times they're lending out the money than what they're paying for the money. That it's in a historic levels. It's in obscene levels. Because you got to think of a bank as your deposits, their inventory that they're using to sell on the other end. It's no different in a store getting in a case of beans and then for $1 and selling them for $3 and making a $2 profit in it. They're getting in a dollar, selling it out here in a mortgage for $10 and they're making $9, whatever it is. But it's a lot more than that. 0.15 into 3.5 or 3.2 is more than that.
Yeah. Oh, listen, the banks in an inflation area period, the banks are golden. They're a wonderful investment.
Back when we were young, we got 5% on a savings account. Take that same ratio, 0.15, into 1.5 into
About
0.15 into 1.5 would be 10.
Yeah.
20 times, 3% would be about 20 times. That 5% that they were giving us, they'd have to have 100% mortgage rates to have the same ratio when we were young is what they got now.
Oh yeah.
Think about that.
It really, it's why I'm not smart, and don't you people take my advice either. But what Morgan Stanley, J.P. Morgan Chase, Truist Bank have been my best performers in my own personal account. Banks.
Mm-hmm.
They just whoosh. And you know what? Inflation is sticking with us. I'm sticking with them.
Oh yeah, I'm not changing anything.
Yeah. But, well, anyway.
Merrill Lynch calls. They said, what's going on there? Are you uncomfortable with anything? You want to change anything? I said, no. Said, I don't know much about it. That's why you got it.
That's right. Yeah.
If I was as smart as you guys, I'd be doing it myself.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about service. Yesterday I had my oil company came in for their annual thing. It wasn't a big deal, but I went down, I was impressed. A dirty furnace and all that stuff in the basement. And I got a hot water heater like you that's hooked off the furnace and everything. Not only did they tune everything up, they cleaned everything.
Mm-hmm.
They wiped the furnace down. They wiped the hot water heater down. It was full of cobwebs and mouse poop and everything else.
All that good stuff.
They even went over and they labeled everything. Even where the water comes in, I got a well. Even where the water, it says main water shut off now with a big red tag. This here's a valve. This valve going into the furnace has got a label on it, what it is. So if you ever something, then they say, well, go down and turn off the main feed line. It's all labeled.
They did a good job.
What a nice idea.
But you know what? What did they charge you? I forget exactly how much.
Oh, I had sticker
paid.
shock last time.
Was it like $280 or $300 or something?
My fill last time was almost $600.
Yeah.
I had sticker shock till I talked to my son last. Well, he's got a big thing. It was $1,600 last time he filled.
Oh, my fill-up? I don't know what it is. I pay prepaid
Yeah, you
the
do
whole
that.
thing. Yeah. Liberals describe middle America. Obama. They get bitter. They cling to their rifles and Bibles. Hillary Clinton. Midwesterners are deplorables. Bette
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Midler.
We were deplorable for a while. We used to bill ourselves as the deplorables,
Yeah.
remember?
Now Bette Midler. West Virginia is poor, illiterate, and strung out. That's because of Joe Manchin.
Oh, because of Joe Manchin.
Yeah. But you know, the people in middle America, if what the Republicans are smart, will list these things in their ads. This is what to think of you.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Now, I must tell you this story. My two boys, Patrick and Peter, work as bill collectors, and they work up in Milford for a very well-respected firm. And one of the guys that works there, and I'm not going to mention his
No, of
name,
course not.
is Brazilian. I take that back. He's Portuguese.
Okay.
But the Brazilians are the dominant group in Milford.
Yeah.
And-
Birmingham, too, I think.
Yeah.
They're another group.
And if you want anything done, to this friend of my boys that they work with, I know a guy that can do that. I know a guy that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've used a couple of those guys. They come and they work their tail off, and I pay them. So, some of his friends in the Brazilian community were saying, you know, they voted straight Democrat. And so he said to them, well, you're really happy about that, huh? Yeah, they're happy. They want to be legal Americans. And Biden says he'll do that. Yeah, this guy says, you are very stupid. You will be paying income taxes next. You'll be paying Social Security taxes. There'll be no more EBT cards, no food stamps. You'll be paying union dues. There'll be no more mass health. You pay your own health care. No more free rent or rental subsidies. Gee, that's what you're signing up for, you know. And they said, if we knew that, we wouldn't have voted. And they all got mad when he told them that. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Some of them are a switch around.
Yeah. Oh. You were talking about ads.
Mm-hmm.
What ads do you see at night? There is two ads. They're both the same. One's a woman, one's a man. But it's the same bloody ad. And my wife is sick and tired of hearing me yell at the TV.
Oh, there's some. I gotta hit the mute switch. I can't even stand to listen to them.
This is, they're at a lake, and the lady runs to the end of the dock and jumps in. But before she gets to the end of
Two nails
the
sticking
two
up?
nails, and the guy, the same thing. And I keep screaming, step on the nails, you...
What in the hell, when they made that commercial, is the purpose of them two nails sticking up?
I think, now, it may have had its genesis in a you folks need to be careful kind of thing because stuff like that exists. I don't know.
Because nothing in a commercial is ever an accident.
No.
It's so expensive to make it, and it's so expensive to show it, that every frame is well thought out
Yeah.
with some idea.
Yep. There's a lady on TV that says, if I use a certain product, I can't get younger, but I can look younger. And I just mentioned to my wife, gee, I need to get that product, and so I can look younger. And she said, I think that moment has passed.
Yeah, I hear that too.
Yeah. What a bummer that is. Boy.
I said the other day, hey, I got wrinkles, you know that? She said, you just noticed that now? She said, you've had wrinkles for 20 years.
Do you know that 90% of the U.S. population lives within 10 miles of a Walmart?
You know, that's probably true. I forgot how many thousands of Walmarts there are. It's a lot.
Fistful of them, I'll tell you.
God. I worked for a chain when I got out of college. It was a small chain. It was still 100 stores. That was a lot of. You know, they were like Bradley stores, or well, today they were about the size of a Target store. They're about 100 and some thousand square feet. But we thought 90 stores in those days was a.
That was a mammoth amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 stores in those days.
There wasn't any Walmarts then or Amazons or anything like that. But it's probably true. It's probably damn true because you figure you take population of the urban population, how much that makes up of the total population today, and as opposed to rural, and there is a Walmart just about in anywhere 15,000 people.
Yeah.
There's a Walmart.
I mean, we've got the one down Norwood. And
We don't have many here.
And the one up in Milford.
We don't have a lot of them. It took a long time for us to get a Walmart.
Yeah.
In Boston, it was even worse because
because
Menino didn't like them.
No.
They didn't support some. He wanted some special
He
concession.
wanted
for
them to hire union help.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
And they wouldn't do it, and so he just said, "Oh, that you're not coming in here."
Nope. And he stonewalled it. He
Yep.
did the same thing with Fox News.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would not allow that on Boston cable TV.
Well, Menino was not the old friendly uncle that
No.
he.
He was a miserable old goat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He
Yeah.
had his wants and his dislikes and his likes. And
You know, this was a letter in Barron's magazine, letter to the editor, from a guy by the name of Charles Neckvazel, Columbus, Ohio. We are not going to get to income equality until we get education equality. Public schools in city after city, including Chicago, my former home, are not preparing young people for careers, and certainly not for income equality. Check the graduation and truancy rates. It isn't racism when you don't hire a candidate, no matter the race. It's because he or she doesn't have the needed skills.
right.
I'll tell you what, if you talk about hitting a nail right on the head,
I wrote that letter.
I thought it had a particularly interesting Midwestern slant.
It's true though. The kids coming out of school are not really trained for anything today. They don't know anything.
And
Oh,
whoever.
they do know. They know a lot of stuff.
Yes, they do.
A lot of
Useless information.
Useless information. Maybe to us it's useless. To an employer it's useless. To somebody that here's why who's not useless. Somebody that's got a PhD in ancient English history that was teaching them. Well, that was very important. Well, yeah, it's very important for you because it keeps you employed, but it doesn't do anything for the kid.
You know, when you were saying that, I was saying to myself, you know, tell me what's important about me reading Beowulf.
Nothing.
You can't understand the damn thing.
No.
No. So how is that a bit of my necessary education.
Because we have to justify the existence
Oh, yes.
of these other people that
Yeah.
over the years we've added this. Well, it's a rounded education. I go so many times in college walking out of that course that I just, to me, was just worthless. When I shut that door and walked out of that classroom, I said, my mind went, wow.
Yep.
I couldn't tell you anything about it. I didn't want to even remember it. It was the boring, as dead, as stupid as crap.
You know, the American educational system is in shambles. And there are a whole bunch of reasons for it. But one perfect example. Wonder who the nitwit was that first came up with the plan, let's take the vocational schools out of high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we need to teach the kids ancient Grecian philosophy.
Exactly.
Or,
But they can't balance a checkbook when they get out.
yeah,
We're assuming they still have checkbooks,
Yeah.
but I'm just using that as a point.
yeah. Or the teachings of Mao Zedong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a course, too.
That's-
I mean, yeah, that's really something
Like
valuable.
my wife used to teach home ec. They don't teach home ec anymore.
No.
The
And
kids can't
that's-
come out, either boy or girl, and they get an apartment, they're not gonna boil water.
Exactly. You know, home ec, now, obviously, I never went to any of that stuff, and I would, but some of the vocational stuff, that would be great if I had taken some courses, if you could have, and just carpentry 1.
Basic carpentry, basic
Yeah.
plumbing, electric, sure.
Yeah.
If you want to change a light switch, don't touch the black rubber, these two together. They don't teach you anything anymore.
They don't.
No.
You're absolutely right. I talked to my CCD class when I was teaching at St. Jude, and we talk a lot about education. What are you kids doing in education? Because I couldn't go an hour and a half of that one chapter that I was supposed
Right,
to teach
exactly.
about. So I'd read the bullets
Yep.
and say to the kids, you want to talk about any of these things? Let's talk about this one or that one. And then after about 15 minutes, so what else are you kids up to? We'd have some great conversations.
Yeah.
And I used to talk to them about King Philip School. Well, they told me stories that would drive you crazy. I mean, a teacher who, for 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, gave them notes to take down about the chapter. Monday, and she'd dictate the notes and make them write them all down. And then Thursday night, she'd say, now study those notes that I gave you from Monday through Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, we'll have a test. Would you tell me what teaching she did?
No.
None.
None.
Absolutely none. If she was doing that of her own free will and not charging for it, that's the only way I would allow her to do that.
She might
But
as
if
well
she
have-
was picking up a paycheck, she should be put in
She might
jail.
as well had those printed and just passed them out at the beginning of the class and took a book and sat down and read.
Exactly. Exactly.
No,
But that was
the kids
her-
don't learn that way either.
No.
History is the one that you got to get into. History is a very difficult subject, particularly in high school too, college too. If it's drone, da 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 da, you can't absorb it. If you start to get a conversation of why was this scandal, or what happened here, why did this happen, why did this happen, and you start building a
Exactly.
a
Instead
item around
of what year did William the Conqueror?
Yeah, it's just on and on. It's just facts after facts.
Yeah.
You can't absorb that.
What in heaven's name does the date of the Battle of Hastings,
Yeah.
what is that going to help you
It's not.
in future life?
It's not.
No, it's not. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
And for them to dwell on it and make you memorize, and then have a test of all of this crap.
Yeah.
It is, you know, there's, and I've got it in here someplace, and I probably won't be able to find it, but there's something in here that speaks about teachers. And, I wish I could find it right now,
You know-
real quick.
One course, though, while you were looking for your thing, one course in college, I think it was undergrad, yeah, that I really was going to hate. So I took it in summer school because you could compress it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a philosophy course. And I don't know why that was on the agenda that we had to, but it was on my curriculum. And I got a hold of an old eccentric guy that used to wear shorts in the dead of winter and rode his bicycle to school. He was before the eccentric was in. But he was the most interesting, weird guy I'd ever come across. We did not study philosophers and what that philosopher said. He actually brought up stuff. And the class would get into a discussion and an argument over some of these philosophical things.
Yeah.
That hour went by just like that. And it made you think about different stuff in different ways, And he wouldn't tell you which way he was. He said, "What do you think about this?" And he said, "Well, do you agree with that?" "No." "Well, what? Tell me why you don't agree with it." One time, we were in class. There's out in the hall. There's something going on. He goes out. There was 3 painters out there, maintenance guys. So he said, "These guys, come in here." "Well, us? Yeah, they come up. All right, now what do you guys think about this? You're not in academics. You're not in students. And pretty soon those 3 guys are in the conversation. They're arguing among themselves too. But I mean, he got this group going.
Isn't that great?
You walked out and you said, "Now that was really enlightening." And I like that.
That is what, in my own stupid little fashion, I tried to do with those kids. Get them talking about.
Yeah.
Find something they wanted to talk
Then he
about.
said, right away in the first class, he said, he said, "As far as grades go, nah. You want an A? Put down you want an A. If you want an F, I'll give you an F. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Come to class." He says, "Just write down what grade you think you." At the end, he says, "You're grading me as much as you." He says, "So."
Going back to the teacher that just
Oh, okay.
read notes. William Arthur Ward wrote, "The mediocre teacher tells. The good teacher explains.
Mm-hmm.
The superior teacher demonstrates. The great teacher inspires."
Inspires. Yep.
Boy, isn't that great?
It is. That's true.
But the mediocre teacher tells. She was up there reading the notes. And then it's all on you. You got to study the notes without any clarification from her. The no teaching involved. All she did was dictate the notes. And you had to memorize them.
Yeah.
Oh,
And if you come out of school, I don't care if it's high school or college, and you have an interest to learn more about something, you ran across somebody, someplace that sparked that interest in you.
yeah.
And that's what education should have
Yeah.
done. It should have started. It's not an end all. It's just a start.
Yeah.
It should
Yeah.
have sparked something in you.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I look back on my teachers in high school, damn few of them were sparkers.
Oh,
They were slugs for the most part.
I had nuns.
Oh boy.
You want to talk about dead?
A narrow
Very
viewpoint
narrow,
of
very-
everything.
Everything was cut and dried.
Yep.
A to B to C to D. There was no imagination, no room for a discussion on anything. This is how it is, and that's how it's going to be.
We had a teacher down Walpole, Jack Jordan, and Jack was a hothead. And he'd come to class. All right, you guys want to talk about whatever the hell he taught, math, I think. You want to talk about math, or do you want to hear me rave about why I'm PO'd? And of course, we all said, "Yeah, bring it on,
Bring it
bring it
on.
on, Mr. Jordan.
Yeah.
Let's have it." And he would tell a story, and he'd say, "I was so bloody furious about this, rah 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 rah." And but then, after he was done, then we could say to him, "Well, wait a minute now, Mr. Jordan, are you sure?" And with his volatile temper, it took a while to get to know him, but he wouldn't blow up at you. He'd listen to what you had to say,
Oh, okay, good.
and we'd end up having a two-way conversation. Now, 30% of the class would. The other 70 were slugs, and they were just going through the motion too, so they didn't enter into the discussion. But some of us did.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. 40% of all car trips are less than 3 miles.
Yeah. Well, if you think back about it, think how many times you just get in the car to go get a loaf of bread.
Well, yeah. My big trip every day is up to get the mail.
Yeah.
The post office. That's a little bit over
Ours
a
is probably
mile.
coming to the senior center.
Yeah.
Or here, that's about 2.5, 3 miles, I guess.
I was thinking of something else too. Kicking the can down the road. It's a very popular concept down in Washington. Social Security reform. Medicare reform. Race relations by President Obama. He just didn't talk about it for 8
Yeah, you
years.
just ignored it, that.
Immigration reform. I mean, here are 4 extremely important things in our life: immigration, race relations, Medicare, Social Security. And do those jackasses in Washington ever say, we're going to have a conversation about this? Let's get a bipartisan committee together and let's work on Social Security. Ain't going to happen.
Nope, because some of those things they consider third rail. It's too dangerous. And too dangerous, I mean too dangerous for them politically.
Right.
It's always me.
It's always about me.
Yeah, it's always about me. No matter if I might throw you a few crumbs, but it's only if it don't endanger me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's some of these things are so simplistic in their fix. Social Security, a few little twerks and teaks here, you could fix the whole thing.
Listen.
You would think that this is the biggest, most complex thing that we've ever come across.
Duane, if you and I sat down with a solid lawyer and a solid CPA,
Yep.
we could solve Social Security in 4 hours tops.
Yep. Yeah. A friend of mine.
And be back, and we'd have the thing back in the green.
A friend of mine, I'll give it, is Tom Van Tassel. And he watches this. They live in north of Austin, Texas. And I forgot who his MBA is from, but he's had very good jobs. Worked with IBM for a number of years till they changed. Then whoever the parent company was with, Bell Helicopter.
General Dynamics, maybe?
No, they were out of Providence at one point. They owned Spidell and all their
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, them and some big manufacturers. And they had some very tough jobs. You'd go into a plant that was not performing the way they want, and they had trouble. He was Mr. Doom walking through the door. He could fire anybody from the plant manager on down. And when he showed up, everybody says, "Oh, God, no." You know, but he said, I'd walk into a plant, a Bell Helicopter place. There's no toilet paper. There hadn't been toilet paper for weeks. He says dumb stuff like that. But he'd fix it all, get everything running again. And then he said sometimes he was afraid to start his car. But excuse me. he said, and I think it's true, he says, I could go today pick 15, 18 people. And the people that I've done business with in industry and stuff over the years, he said, we could run the country.
Yeah.
And we could run it damn well.
Yes.
Just let us do it. None of this crap of arguing and this is wrong, but we don't know how to fix it and this.
Or this is one that drives me crazy. The Democrats will not talk about fixing Social Security with the Republicans because it's a Democratic program.
And they might get credit for something.
Delano Roosevelt did it, and it's always going to be a Democratic
That's right.
deal.
So we'll let it die rather than admit that, well, maybe you do have a good idea.
Yeah. Or maybe we should talk it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a interesting concept. And the same thing goes with Medicare. Well, LBJ gave us that. Well, why don't we just, never mind the genesis of the program.
They're fighting here in this state right now
Yeah.
over whether immigrants, I'm sorry, folks, undocumented,
Yeah, right.
illegal immigrants should have driver's license. Well, God almighty, the solution to that's easy. You want somebody driving on the road that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, or you want somebody that can actually drive a car? You do, give them a driver's license. But then they say, but then they'll vote. They'll get to vote. They'll do this. No, you issue them a driver's license for an undocumented person. Make them yellow. Make them bright green. And right on it you said, for
Absolutely.
driving purposes only, not for identification.
Or rather than have a horizontal picture, have a vertical picture.
Something. And you got a driver's license, and you don't have to worry about them using to register to vote and everything else. End the problem. Why can't these high-paid political hacks think of that? If a dumbass like me can think of it, why can't some of them think about it?
Well, it's amazing to me. Here's another example. Or at least, maybe you won't agree with me. But here's an example that drives me absolutely rat-trap. All right? So, we don't have enough truck drivers. It's slowing down the economy. So, let's get teenagers in high school to attend truck driving classes. So when they can graduate, they can go right on the road.
I saw a proposal for that.
Yeah.
400 hours of in-seat training, or you want to, with a licensed driver. That's 10 weeks at 40 hours. That's a hell of a good idea, because these kids that live on farms can drive a semi or a truck just as good as anybody over the road trucker, because they've been doing it for years. And they are suited for that kind of stuff.
I wish I could agree with you. But, a teenager is not totally formed up here, emotionally or intellectually.
That's true.
And I don't like the idea of some 18-year-old kid running a rig with 120,000 pounds down the highway and
That's a good
sharing it
point.
with me.
But I think they perked the perfect ability. Look at NASCAR.
Yeah.
Line those 43 drivers or 40 drivers up next Sunday, or Sunday after next, from Daytona 500. They are almost our great grandkids. 18, 19, 20, anybody that's 22, 23, they're old already.
Mm-hmm.
They handle those cars. They handle at 200 miles an hour. They handle them responsibly.
Oh, yeah.
They got quick reflexes. They got
Yes,
good
they do.
eyesight.
Yep. I agree. No, I agree with that, and you're 100% right. I mean, and the kids that are raised on the farm that start driving a tractor when they're 12,
Yep. Or
they can
younger.
Do a wonderful job on all that stuff. I just wonder on a rainy night when they've smoked a bone or something, if I really want them behind the wheel, careening down the highway at 75 miles an hour when I'm on the same highway.
Well, I don't see. I got so many close calls with truck drivers that weren't teenagers
Yeah.
that the guys damn well half of them were smoking crack. Well, I shouldn't say half, but coke and crack were big deal in truckers, and they weren't teenagers.
No,
They were-
speed too. Yeah.
And speed, yeah. Well, crack stuff. I don't know much about that stuff, but they weren't teenagers.
Oh, I know.
So
One of the things that I did, spending so much time on the road, I really got to appreciate the truck drivers, and I always tried my damnedest not to do anything that would screw them up.
no,
Like pass them and pull in front of them and slow down.
mm-hmm.
I've driven with so many people that just don't take the truck into consideration at all. They don't realize how long it takes the damn thing to
You
stop.
can't stop. It's like a
Yeah.
train. Like a train. Well, you don't
Yeah.
want to step in front of a train
Yeah.
because he ain't going to stop.
And I always, on exit ramps, I always am very careful, and I try not to pull in front of the trucks. I'll reel down slow on the entrance ramps to highways and stuff like that.
That's called-
And I always flash my headlights.
That's called self-preservation.
Yeah. Yeah. I always flash my headlights too. When they're passing me, if they get
Yeah.
clearance, flash my headlights at
they
them.
appreciate
and,
that.
and they always flash theirs
Yeah.
back. But, well, anyway, I'm all set for the Truckers Hall of Fame
That's right.
on the non-trucker category. Susie got this on the internet. Usually some of this internet stuff will drive you nuts. Let's see if I get this right.
All right.
If a man pretends to be a woman, you are required to pretend with him.
Oh God, you're going to get this is a man pretends to be a woman. You've got to pretend to be. You're right, I think.
Oh, I know it.
Oh yeah.
Well, because if you don't, I mean, you are going to be castigated by legal
It's like a
authorities.
hate crime.
Somehow it's un-American for the census to count how many Americans are in America.
Okay.
Yep. Russians influencing our elections are bad. Illegal Mexicans voting in our elections are good. It was
I think either
cool.
one of them are good.
Yeah. 20 is too young to drink a beer, but 18 is old enough to vote. People inflammatory rhetoric is outrageous, but harassing conservative people in restaurants is virtuous. People who have never been to college should pay the debts of college students who took out huge loans
No, I don't see that.
for useless degrees.
That bugs the hell out of me. Think of the poor devil that just paid off his $200,000 student loan, and then the next week they debt forgiveness.
Think of my friend Bill Ryan from Buffalo, New York, who had 5 kids.
Yep.
Remortgaged his house like 3 times to put those 5 kids through college. Then tell him he's got to pay
Yeah.
for other people's bad loans. Yeah, it's not fair. Irish doctors and German engineers who want to immigrate must go through a rigorous vetting process. But any illiterate Central American gangbanger who jumps the southern fence is welcome. If you cheat to get into college,
That one's a little out of context, but go ahead.
if you cheat to get into college, you go to prison. But if you cheat to get into the country, you go to college for free.
That's probably true.
People who say there is no such thing as gender are demanding a female president.
What do you mean there's no such thing as gender?
Yeah. We see other countries going socialist and collapsing, and it seems like a great plan to us. Some people are held responsible for things that happened before they were born, and other people are not held responsible for what they are doing right now.
Yep.
Criminals are catch and released to hurt more people, but stopping them is bad because it's a violation of their rights.
That never made any sense either.
And pointing out all this hypocrisy somehow makes us racists.
That's a big catch. That allows one side to have a bigger hammer. No matter what it is, they always use this. Well, it's racist, and there's nothing a liberal more afraid of than get called a racist.
Yep.
They will do anything not to get that label, even if it's true or it's not true. It doesn't make any difference. It's the labeling that terrifies them.
Yep.
Even this thing now with, they always said, well, blacks get stopped more than whites. Well, we can't have a seatbelt law because they'll just stop the black people. And the white people won't get stopped. Well, now they find out with the traffic stops, there's no real difference. But now they say, well, yeah, but now, they search the black people more often.
Well, when the black people, when anybody stuffs something down like this between
or he's got the
seats,
butt of a 40 sticking out
Yeah.
the back of his pocket, you're going to get searched.
I was interested in that whole survey that was in the paper. So it's the city of Boston. We're stopping on a percentage basis more blacks than whites. Well, let's take a look at the population
that's
of
another
Boston.
thing.
You take a look. The minorities outweigh the whites in Boston.
Yeah, it's a white minority.
Gee whiz.
Majority.
Yeah, when the Latinos, the Asian Americans, the Black Americans outweigh the amount of whites there are in Boston now. So, if there's more people driving of one description, you're surprised that the numbers are that more of the minorities get stopped?
No.
No, but they act like it's, my word, you're just scrolling all over us just constantly.
If you go fishing in a trout pond, you're going to catch mostly trout. You're not going to catch bass.
Yeah, and by the way, I know, and I haven't seen statistics on this, but I know the cops in their patrolling drive up behind a car. License plate number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Punch it into the computer. Plate comes back stolen. They stop the car. People that defend minorities say, you stopped the car because it was a minority. No, I stopped it because the license plate was stolen.
Why
did you pick that car to check the license plate on?
Because I was behind it.
Ah, but you're behind white people all the time. Do you check their plates too? Well, if I'm driving along, if they do something a little erratic or something like that, you bet your life I type it in. Yeah, but no, you're not. You're not being fair.
Yeah,
I know why you
hide
stopped
behind
me.
that.
Yeah, I'm telling you. A couple more things I'd really like to get to here, real quick. I am so happy I don't have to fly for a living anymore.
Oh, me too.
Because these stories about these people that get into fights on planes and act like complete morons,
Yep.
assaulting. Now, so
And then there's pushback by putting them on a no-fly list.
yeah,
That should be a given.
they should be on that list for 25 years.
That's right.
But and then so somebody argued back and said, well, she was a pain in the butt, the hostess there, the stewardess, and the retort was, well, she now has a broken cheek in 4 places, 5 teeth knocked out, and it's going to require plastic surgery. Do you call that balanced? And these guys, they get up in the air and they won't put the masks on. Or they take the masks
Take it
off.
off.
Yeah. And then they get into a big argument and push the waitress and listen, it is just a matter of time before it causes a crash.
Yeah, there's going to be something happening.
It scares the hell out of me. The Queen Elizabeth marks her 70th anniversary with support for Camilla, Prince Charles's second wife. I don't care about that stuff, but 70 years Queen Elizabeth has.
Yeah.
Now, maybe we need to talk next time about the phenomena of the royal family. And the British love the royal family.
Yeah, there's a certain percentage. They do. They don't want to change it.
Yeah.
They're costing them millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, 29 million was
Something like
one
that.
budget that.
It's huge.
Yeah, for the castles and all
Mhm.
that. I don't understand that.
Oh, I don't either.
No. And Lord Beaverbrook and.
You got all these
Yeah.
titled persons, and they protect them. They're just so enamored with them.
The Duke of Norfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some dukes in Norfolk here. They just don't put it on their letterhead.
No, the only Duke in Norfolk I'd like to see is Daisy Duke.
That's right.
And Rawlins says she would seek the death penalty for
Sanara, the Boston Bomber guy.
Yeah.
The marathon.
I
bomber.
don't believe that for 1 second.
I don't either. That was
is pure politics.
You're exactly right. That was an opportune time to make some points. Because you
Yeah.
know damn well she's not going to do that.
That's right. And this is one, she wants to execute him, but she wants to be all kinds of different offenses. We don't arrest them and we don't put them away. No, we punish too many people. But we're going to kill him. Well, folks, it has been a marvelous couple of hours. I must say that I personally have enjoyed it tremendously.
I want to thank our expert producer here for the glass of water.
Chris is all right.
Chris
let me
is a
tell
good
you.
man out there,
Yep.
Chris. He saved me a coughing spasm.
So, folks, please stay safe over the next couple of weeks. We're going to
Yeah,
have
that's-
thawing. We're going to have freezing. We're bound to have another snowstorm.
It's going to be ice and all that junk yet for a while.
Because we want you to be regular viewers, all 11 of you.
That's right. You know, if we lose a viewer, our percentage goes down big time.
We're in trouble. They'll cut our salaries.
That's right.
Folks, have a great couple of weeks and we'll see you again.
Take
and by
care.
the way, anything you want us to talk about?
Yeah, let me
drop us
know.
a note.
Again,
Give
My
Norfolk
name
Cable.
at Comcast.net.
Yeah. Or if you can't remember that, call
Yeah.
NCTV. They're in the book. Just say, hey, have the bozos talk about this. Let's see if they have an original thought or, something like
We
that.
probably won't, but we'll talk about it
We
anyway.
didn't get to the sports.
Oh yeah, that's a good one for next time.
We'll lead off with the sports next
Yeah,
time.
by the time we'll have Super Bowl, Daytona 500, all that kind
Call the
of stuff.
Super Bowl.
Yep. Good.
Okay. 4-point favorites. LA. LA +4. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Take LA, you give me 7.
No, you get 4. That's the line. And the over-under is 48.
Okay.
I'm not a big over-under fan.
I'm not either. I don't.
But the other side of that bet is if you bet dollar amounts, you put up 100, you win 170 if Cincinnati wins. I think that is a good bet, rather than bet and take the points.
I'd like to see Cincinnati win, but I'm predicting that LA is going to win.
This Joe Burrow is quite a lad.
He is.